When did doing anything for your child mean lying to them? My mom stole over $200,000 from me to give it to other people. I thought the worst betrayal would come from a stranger, not the person who raised me. It started with small amounts disappearing from my account. When I asked my mom about it, she'd get annoyed and mutter something about medical expenses before changing the subject. I'm working 3 jobs while going to community college. I sleep maybe 4 hours a night and live off energy drinks. Meanwhile, my mom is living it up with mysterious medical treatments she refuses to explain. Last month, I checked my college fund balance. The account my grandparents set up showed $4,000. I nearly threw up. I called my mom immediately. "Where's the rest of it?" She got defensive and started yelling about how I'm ungrateful. When I kept pressing, she hung up on me. That's when I noticed weird stuff happening. My mom whispering on phone calls but getting angry if I walked into the room. She'd disappear for hours claiming errands but never came back with anything. I found receipts hidden in her bedroom drawer. Charity donations totaling over $50,000 to families with sick kids. My mom had been giving away my future to strangers while watching me work myself to death. I needed proof she'd hand over more if I asked, so I came up with a plan to expose her in front of everyone. I told my mom about an amazing medical research internship that guaranteed med school acceptance. The catch was, I needed $15,000 upfront with a 1-week deadline. "Mom, this is my chance to become a doctor and save lives," I said with tears. "But if I can't get this by Friday, I lose everything." She went into overdrive, frantic phone calls and 3 bank visits that week. She looked exhausted and kept coughing, her face gaunt and pale with dark circles deepening each day, but I figured it was stress from finding more of my inheritance to steal. I suggested a family dinner Friday to celebrate my acceptance. My aunts and uncles came expecting to toast my bright future. My mom stood up looking pale but glowing with pride, her hands trembling as she gripped her chair for support. She pulled out an envelope with shaking hands. "I have never been more proud," she announced, her voice hoarse. "This is what being a parent means. You do anything for your child's future." She handed me a check for $15,000. The family erupted in applause. My mom was beaming despite the obvious effort it took to stay upright. That's when I dropped the bomb. There is no internship program. There never was. The laughter died when they saw my cold expression. I stared at my mom, watching the color drain from her already pale face. So where did this $15,000 come from? Her hands shook violently as she realized the trap, grabbing the table to keep from falling. The room fell silent. My aunts and uncles exchanged confused glances. Under family pressure, she broke down and admitted everything. She had donated massive amounts to families with children fighting cancer. "I couldn't watch those babies die when I could help," she sobbed. Through her tears, she told us about Kevin, a 9-year-old who dreamed of being an astronaut but needed surgery his family couldn't afford, and Nina, a 6-year-old who loved to paint but was too weak to hold a brush until the treatments my mom paid for gave her strength back. As she spoke their names, something twisted in my chest. A flicker of understanding I immediately pushed away. These weren't just numbers anymore. They were real kids with real dreams, but I couldn't let myself feel guilty for being angry about my stolen future. I exploded. "So you stole $200,000 from me to play hero while I'm killing myself working 3 jobs? She collapsed into her chair, looking smaller and more fragile than I'd ever seen her, and whispered, "Because they have futures to save and I don't." Medical records showed stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Diagnosed 20 months ago with weeks to live. She had refused expensive treatments to preserve my fund, then gave away almost everything while declining procedures that might have saved her. She anonymously paid for treatments at pediatric units and saved 9 kids whose families couldn't afford care. My mom chose to die rather than burden me or tell the truth, but she built this sacrifice on lies and theft. She stole my ability to choose my path and took away my right to help her fight or say goodbye properly. "I wanted to save as many futures as I could before mine ended," she whispered. "But she didn't save my future. She destroyed it with deception while making me feel like a selfish monster. Her sacrifice was just another way to control everything while avoiding honest conversation. She died 3 weeks later and I'm still angry."